Chapter 23-27. Heavenly Emperor Hung Yu gave a long howl. Heavenly Tao pressure erupted. The entire world was trembling, terrifying to the extreme. Bang! Heavenly Emperor Hung Yu made his move. A battle sword appeared in his hand, a sword slashing toward Lan Sheng. Hung Yu, I'll face you. Xing Xinhe's master was a gray-robed old man. He made his move, a palm rumbling toward Heavenly Emperor Hung Yu. The two people exchanged a move, sharing the limelight. Xing Xinhe's master was also an extremely terrifying existence. Even among heavenly emperors, he was an expert, not weaker than Heavenly Emperor Hung Yu. While at this time, Lan Cheng's large hand already approached Lu Ming. But Lu Ming stood calmly on the battle stage, his expression unchanged. It was as if he did not see Lan Cheng's attack. Right at this time, an old man suddenly appeared beside Lu Ming. The old man's expression was calm, a punch rumbling out. This punch did not have the slightest bit of energy surge, and also did not have any power of law. It was just pure power. But when this punch rumbled out, the large hand that Lan Cheng condensed directly exploded. The terrifying fist force continued rumbling toward Lan Cheng. Lan Cheng's expression changed, hurriedly using a divine ability art. A heavenly lion pounced out. With a rumble, Lan Cheng's body trembled, involuntarily retreating repeatedly, looking at the old man beside Lu Ming with a look of shock. Primordial Physique Cultivator. You're a Primordial Physique Cultivator, a Heavenly Emperor Realm Physique Cultivator. Who are you? Lan Cheng roared angrily, extremely shocked. He did not expect that there was actually a Heavenly Emperor Realm existence following beside Lu Ming. Furthermore, it was a Physique Cultivator powerhouse that he had never seen before. Heavenly Emperor Realm Physique Cultivator. In the crowd, Baoda's eyes emitted an excited light. At the scene, the others were also extremely shocked. There was actually a Heavenly Emperor Realm Physique Cultivator following beside Lu Ming, helping Lu Ming at the critical moment. Primordial Physique Cultivators were virtually almost lost until now. The people who cultivated were extremely few, and those who could cultivate to success were even fewer. Presently, in the Heavenly Realm, there was only one known person who could reach Heavenly Emperor Realm Physique Cultivator. But it was absolutely not the person in front of them. Could it be that this Physique Cultivator powerhouse did not come into being, and has been living in seclusion all along? Someone guessed. Fellow Taoist, are you planning to make an enemy out of me and my Long clan because of a mere junior? Lan Cheng stared at the old man and said coldly. His words contained a hint of threat. If anyone dares to touch him, I'll smash them to death with a single punch. The old man pointed at Lu Ming and spoke indifferently. His words were very simple and clear, but it caused everyone to be stunned. Whoever dared to touch Lu Ming, he would smash them to death with a single punch. This made many people gasp. These were the words of a celestial emperor, and no one would doubt them. Lan Cheng's expression darkened as he said, I'm afraid you alone won't be enough. The Yin clan's Heavenly Emperor, the Luo clan's Heavenly Emperor, and the Boundless Palace's Palace Master also unleashed their terrifying auras to suppress the elder. But in the next moment, 3 more old men appeared beside Lu Ming. They were wearing the same clothes as the previous old man. Their expressions were calm, but a terrifying aura erupted from them, crushing the aura of the Yin clan's Heaven Sovereign and the others. Lan Cheng, the pupils of the Yin clan's Heavenly Emperor, and the rest constricted sharply, revealing looks of disbelief. Heavenly Emperors were all Heavenly Emperor Realm powerhouses. Furthermore, they were all body cultivators. How was this possible? At the scene, the others were also stunned, dumbfounded. There were actually so many Heavenly Emperor Realm powerhouses by Lu Ming's side. This force was too terrifying. The Long clan's side could not do anything to Lu Ming at all. Damn it, how is this possible? Where did these powerhouses pop out from? Lan Cheng roared angrily in his heart. As a Heavenly Emperor Realm powerhouse, he had basically seen or heard of all the Heavenly Emperors in the grand pure heavenly domain. But he had never heard of these few old men in front of him. Where did so many Heavenly Emperor Realm body cultivators pop out from? Could it be those old monsters in seclusion? Lan Cheng could not help thinking. The grand pure heavenly domain, or the primordial realm, naturally had some old monsters in seclusion. Their cultivation base and strength were terrifying. Generally, they were cultivating bitterly in seclusion. Only when the foreign races launched a truly terrifying war would these powerhouses come out. At this moment, many thoughts flashed through Lan Cheng's mind. Lan Cheng, hand over those who chased me on the battlefield that day, and those who killed Senior Bai Tai and the others. Also hand over the Yin clan. I want to see all of them. Lu Ming took a step forward, staring at Lan Cheng intently. His voice spread across the entire place. Lu Ming would not let any of those who attacked back then go. All of them had to die. How dare you? Those people were clearly killed by you. And now you want me to call for reinforcements? Lan Cheng roared. Even now, he still insisted that Lu Ming had killed them and robbed them of their treasures. Lu Ming, although I don't know where you found these helpers from, my Lan clan is not afraid of you. Lan Cheng continued to shout, his body erupting with a shocking aura. The Yin clan's heavenly emperor, the Luo clan's heavenly emperor, and the vast hall's palace master also raised their auras to the extreme. The world was filled with a terrifying heavenly Dao pressure. Bam! 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 Several old body cultivators took a small step forward. This small step caused the entire ground to tremble. The battle stage under their feet was directly reduced to dust. Lan Cheng and the others' expressions changed slightly, and they could not help but take a few steps back. In the confrontation of auras, they were at a disadvantage. This made their expressions extremely ugly. Everyone, are you just going to watch and let Lu Ming be arrogant here? This kid killed people and robbed them of their treasures. His character is extremely bad, but his talent is high. We must not let him continue to grow. Lan Cheng looked at some of the others. Today, the heavenly emperors that came were not only the Yin clan's heavenly emperor and the Luo clan's heavenly emperor, but there were also a few other heavenly emperors. However, their relationship with the Lan clan was not that good, so they did not make a move before. At this time, these people's eyes were flickering. They were considering if they should help the Lan family or not help either side. Lu Ming's talent was too shocking. If this continued, he would become a top expert sooner or later. Moreover, he had many powerful experts by his side to help him. If they offended Lu Ming, if Lu Ming did not die, they would be the ones in trouble in the future. Therefore these people were hesitant for a while. Today, I will take those people, Lu Ming said coldly, and then sent out a message. Rumble. Just as Lu Ming sent out the message, a violent roar came from the depths of the sky. Then, the sky cracked open, and an incomparably huge palace appeared in the depths of the sky. Above it, there was a gray mist that filled the air. This is the Chaos Palace. Many people's pupils shrank, revealing a look of shock. The Chaos Emperor's Chaos Palace was extremely famous in the Heaven Domain. Although the Chaos Emperor had fallen long ago, he had left behind some powerful puppets. More than 10 years ago, they had shown their terrifying strength in another battlefield. Now, why would the Chaos Palace suddenly appear here? Everyone was puzzled. At this time, 9 rays of light flew out from the Chaos Palace. Those were 9 figures, each of them exuding a shocking aura. Heavenly Emperors. Chapter 23-28. In the blink of an eye, 9 figures came out of the Chaos Palace and stood in the sky above this square. Everyone at the scene held their breaths, because these 9 figures were all Heavenly Emperor realm existences. 9 Heavenly Emperors came all of a sudden. What kind of terrifying force was this? Lu Ming's mouth curled into a smile. These 9 people were 2E Gold E, and the rest. They had long been nearby. Just now, Lu Ming sent them a voice transmission, which was why they appeared. So it's fellow Taoists from the Chaos Palace. Today my Lan family's daughter is getting married. I didn't expect that fellow Taoists would actually come here. Your presence brings light to my humble dwelling. Lan Cheng had a bright smile on his face as he greeted 2E and the rest. However, 2E and the rest ignored Lan Cheng and flew directly to Lu Ming. Then they bowed to Lu Ming. Subordinate pays respect to young master. What? Everyone was stunned by his words. Most of the people revealed a dumbfounded look. Their eyes were wide open, and their mouths were agape. At this moment, they seemed to have become idiots. What did the 9 heavenly emperors of the Chaos Palace call Lu Ming? Young master? The 9 heavenly emperors of the Chaos Palace were Lu Ming's subordinates? At this moment, many people felt that their brains had turned into paste. It was difficult to think, and they even thought that they were dreaming. Lan Cheng's expression was also stiff. His eyes were wide open, and his eyes were filled with disbelief. Following that, a trace of fear emerged. Even Heavenly Emperor Hung Yu and a few body cultivator elders were a little surprised. They did not expect that there were actually so many terrifying powerhouses behind Lu Ming. Lu Ming is indeed worthy of being Lu Ming. Long Chun, Huang Li, and the rest sighed. Nest, I want to follow Lu Ming. I will follow him no matter what in the future. My hair. The unscrupulous monk madly chanted Buddha's name. This is my father? Lu Shenhuang whispered. Looking at the figure standing among the many heavenly emperors, it was like a moon surrounded by stars. At this moment, Lu Shenhuang felt inexplicably proud, because this person was his father. Although this was the first time they had met, he was still proud and excited. Primal Chaos Palace, damn it, all of this should have been mine. In the crowd, Yuan Xian roared in her heart. Because of jealousy, her eyes were red. Yuan Xian had seen 2E and the others before. Back then, Yuan Xian and the others had told him that he had to defeat Lu Ming in order to become the young master of the Primal Chaos Palace. However, in the end, it was Lu Ming who defeated him, so he naturally lost the qualifications to inherit the Primal Chaos Palace. What he did not expect even more was that 2E and the rest were actually Heavenly Emperor realm powerhouses. This made him go crazy with jealousy. How great would it be if he inherited all of this? But now, he could only roar in his heart. He didn't dare to make a sound. He was extremely sullen. Seniors, there's no need to be so courteous. I'll have to trouble all of you today. Lu Ming smiled. Young master's enemy is our enemy. 2E turned around and looked at Lan Cheng and the others. 9 heavenly emperors, how terrifying was their aura. The faces of Lan Cheng and the others changed wildly as they retreated again and again. The gap was too big. Lu Ming had more than a dozen heavenly emperors on his side. They completely crushed Lan Cheng and the others, causing their faces to be extremely ugly. Hand over those people from back then. Not a single one of them. Lu Ming stared at Lan Cheng and said coldly, Lu Ming, it's clearly you who killed people and stole their treasures. My Lan family's people are only following the Heaven Realm's rules to hunt you down. Yet, you harbor a grudge in your heart and want to kill them. Outrageous. How can there be such logic in this world? Lan Cheng roared and continued to quibble, using the Heaven Realm's rules to suppress Lu Ming. Lu Ming sneered. He had already lost his patience and was too lazy to argue with the other party. Lan Cheng, you don't have to quibble here and use the Heaven Realm's rules to suppress me. I'm not here to reason with you today, but to ask for the people. Today, you have to hand them over even if you don't want to understand? Lu Ming said indifferently. These words made many people's hearts tremble, and they were shocked to the extreme. Lu Ming's words were very obvious. Today he was not here to reason, but to ask for the people. The Lan family must hand over the people, even if they don't want to. This was forcing the Lan family to hand over the people. A junior actually forced a heavenly emperor. No, not just a heavenly emperor, but several powerful forces. This was simply domineering. Many young people were watching with their blood boiling. Lan Cheng, the Yin family's heavenly emperor, and others had ugly expressions. If it weren't for the fact that there were too many experts standing beside Lu Ming, they would have slapped Lu Ming to death long ago. But now they could only endure. Hurry up and call for help. Today, if the Lan family doesn't hand over the people, then I will slaughter the Lan family and the Yin family each, and bury them with Senior Bai Tai. Lu Ming said coldly. He had already lost his patience. You dare? Lan Cheng, the Yin family's heavenly emperor, roared. Why wouldn't I dare? Kill. Lu Ming shouted, and rushed directly to the Lan family's area. There countless Lan family disciples gathered. You're courting death. Lan Cheng roared furiously, wanting to deal with Lu Ming. However, 2E threw a punch one after another. Many huge mountains appeared and blasted Lan Cheng backward continuously. The Lan family's great emperors wanted to attack, but Genie appeared and released a terrifying aura. All the great emperors of the Lan family vomited blood and retreated. Kill! Lu Ming roared and threw out a punch. Bang! Bang! 7 to 8 true emperors from the Lan family were killed by Lu Ming. Blood and flesh splattered all over the place. Lu Ming showed no mercy when facing the Lan family. Bai Tai was killed by the Lan family and the Yin family. He must avenge this. Lu Ming, you're crazy. You killed the experts of the heavenly world. These people are the power to fight against the foreign races. But you killed your own people. Are you a spy of the foreign races? Lan Chung roared. He was going crazy. Lu Ming was too decisive, killing the experts of the Lan family directly. At this moment, the people of the Lan family scattered in fear. Ha ha ha, how many can these trash kill? In the future, I can kill 1,000 times, 10,000 times more of them. I alone can fight against thousands of them. Kill! Lu Ming roared and threw out another punch. A few experts of the Lan family were killed. Run, run! Blue Cloud was also mixed in the crowd. He was running away in fear. In his opinion, Lu Ming was a madman. However, at the next moment he screamed in horror. Lu Ming had fixed his eyes on him and appeared above his head in an instant. He stepped on Lan Yun's face, and Lan Yun screamed in pain. His body fell heavily to the ground, and he screamed in agony. Let go of Blue Cloud. Lan Chung roared and his eyes turned red. Blue Cloud was not an ordinary person. He was a top genius, and had the potential to become a heavenly emperor in the future. He must not die. He tried his best to attack Lu Ming, but he was blocked by 2-1. Hand him over. Lu Ming's response was only 2 simple words. His voice was sonorous and powerful. At this moment, the scene was silent as if time had frozen. There was only one person in everyone's eyes, and that was Lu Ming. Chapter 23-29. Luo family's heavenly emperor, Xinghe's master, and the rest had ugly expressions, but none made a move. The power that Lu Ming brought was too strong. More than a dozen heavenly emperors. If they made a move, it would only be courting death. Young man, you're too much. Right at this time, a voice suddenly sounded out. The direction that the voice came from was the depths of the Lan family. The voice was old, seemingly full of the aura of time. Ordinary people were still fine. But Heavenly Emperor Hung Yu, Earth One, Gold One, and the rest, after hearing this voice, their expressions changed wildly, revealing solemn looks. Because this voice gave them a lot of pressure. Ancestor, ancestor! Lan Chung cried out excitedly. Many people's hearts shook wildly. Legend had it that the Lan family had a peerless powerhouse guarding, always hiding in the depths of the Lan family, in close seclusion all year round. That was a 4-star heavenly emperor. Could it be that it was this one? Was the Lan family's peerless powerhouse going to come into being? Bang! Just as everyone's imagination was running wild, a burst of qi erupted from the depths of the Lan family. This qi was ancient and powerful, shocking the heavens and the earth. Even the heavenly emperors felt a terrifying pressure, their faces extremely solemn. Bang! It was as if the ancient heavenly Tao was pressing down on everyone's hearts. Many with weak cultivation had to kneel down. Then, a figure appeared in the depths of the Lan family. This was an old man, wearing a coarse hemp garment, white hair fluttering in the wind, stepping on the air and coming over. Each step he took seemed to be stepping on people's hearts, making people's heartbeats accelerate. We pay respects to ancestor. The Lan family's people bowed one after another, their faces revealing wild elation. Ha ha ha, my Lan family's ancestor came into being. Lu Ming, you dare to kill my Lan family's people, you're dead, you're dead. I'm going to skin you alive and pull out your tendons, making you never reincarnate for all eternity. Blue Cloud roared loudly, his face full of madness and malevolence. Is that so? In that case, I can't let you off even more. Lu Ming's expression was calm, opening his mouth indifferently, filled with ice-cold killing intent. Blue Cloud's expression changed wildly, roaring loudly. Lu Ming, what are you trying to do? Bang! Lu Ming suddenly stomped down on Blue Cloud's face. A terrifying force exploded out. Blue Cloud let out a miserable scream. All his bones had been shattered by Lu Ming, and his meridians had also been turned to dust by Lu Ming. Blue Cloud had turned into a pile of mud and was lying limply on the ground. His eyes were wide open and filled with disbelief. He wasn't dead, but he couldn't even scream. The others gasped and looked at Lu Ming in shock. They thought that Lu Ming would not dare to make a move when the peerless masters of the Lan family appeared. However, he severely injured Blue Cloud in front of the peerless masters of the Lan family with one kick. Lu Ming, you're courting death. Lan Chung roared. The Lan family's patriarch's face darkened as well. The other party actually severely injured Blue Cloud in front of him. This was completely slapping his face. Young man, you're young and impetuous. Now, let go of Blue Cloud and kneel down to cripple your cultivation. The Lan family's patriarch said coldly. Get lost. Lu Ming's response was only one word, get lost. This word caused everyone's expression to change wildly. Lu Ming was simply audacious, actually telling a peerless powerhouse to get lost? The Lan family's patriarch's face completely darkened as he said coldly, young and ignorant. Then I'll teach you a lesson on behalf of your elders. After the Lan family's patriarch finished speaking, he took a step forward and charged towards Lu Ming at an astonishing speed. However, in the next moment, an old man appeared in front of Lu Ming, a body cultivator's supreme elder. Get lost, the Lan family's patriarch shouted coldly, and reached out a large hand to grab the body cultivator's supreme elder. He was a peerless powerhouse. Ordinary heavenly emperors were not his match at all. However, this body cultivator's supreme elder's expression was calm as he threw out a punch. Bang! The body cultivator's supreme elder's fist collided with the Lan family's patriarch's palm. However, the result was beyond everyone's expectations. The Lan family's patriarch's expression changed drastically. His body trembled as if he had been electrocuted, retreating repeatedly. One of his arms was somewhat deformed. On the other hand, the body cultivator's grand elder didn't even sway a bit. Everyone could not help but stare with wide eyes. This body cultivator powerhouse was actually able to blast back the Lan family's peerless powerhouse with one punch. This was too shocking. Could it be that he was also a peerless powerhouse? Lu Ming's expression was calm. Among the body cultivators, there was indeed a peerless powerhouse. He was the archaic body cultivator lineage's strongest supreme elder. So it's a kindred spirit. Today, I want to experience it. The Lan family's patriarch spoke coldly and urged his strength to the limit. Bang! The Lan family's patriarch's figure enlarged with extreme speed, turning into a giant that could support heaven and earth. He blasted out a terrifying move. A streak of divine light slashed down violently toward the body cultivator's old man. Heavenly Emperor powerhouses were able to borrow the power of Heavenly Tao to launch terrifying attacks. In this streak of divine light, there was the power of Heavenly Tao. It was indestructible and could annihilate everything. However, the body cultivator's supreme elder still just blasted a punch out. This punch seemed to be able to pierce through the universe, able to defeat Heavenly Tao. Bang! The divine light that the Lan family's patriarch slashed out was directly pierced through. The terrifying fist force penetrated heaven and earth. The Lan family's patriarch gave a muffled groan, his body retreating wildly, retreating several tens of thousands of miles. His body trembled, spewing out a mouthful of fresh blood. Everyone sucked in a cold breath, perilous waves stirring up in their hearts. The Lan family's patriarch was defeated, beaten until he vomited blood in one move by a body cultivator powerhouse. He was completely no match for him. How can this be? Lan Chung, as well as the other Lan family's people, the Yin family's heavenly emperor, and the rest, all revealed shock and disbelief. The Lan family's patriarch was actually no match, being injured by the other party's one punch. Blue Cloud's eyes were filled with despair. Hand him over. At this moment, Lu Ming continued to speak, his voice becoming colder and colder. Sigh. The Lan family's patriarch sighed, revealing a helpless expression. He understood that he was no match for the body cultivator's elder at all. If he insisted on fighting, he would definitely be the one to die. Lu Ming, my Lan family can hand him over, but you have to let Blue Cloud go. The Lan family's patriarch looked at Lu Ming. Let Blue Cloud go. Wait for him to take revenge on me? Didn't you hear him shouting that he wanted me to live a life worse than death? Moreover, Blue Cloud has been trying to kill me in the past. I have already spared him a few times. If he doesn't know how to cherish the opportunity, then there won't be a future. Lu Ming said coldly. Blue Cloud revealed a look of horror and despair, wanting to struggle with all his might. However, all the bones and meridians in his body had been shattered by Lu Ming, and he couldn't move at all. Boom! Lu Ming's power erupted, bombarding Blue Cloud's body. Blue Cloud's body directly exploded, turning into ashes and dissipating. A top-notch Sky Pride was killed by Lu Ming just like that. Lan Cheng and the other powerhouses of the Lan family were red-eyed, and their hearts were bleeding. The Lan family had produced many Sky Prides in this generation, but they only had 2 top-notch Sky Prides. But now, one of them was killed in public. Moreover, it was in front of Lan Cheng, the Lan family's patriarch, and countless other powerhouses. Chapter 2330. Lan family's old ancestor, Lan Cheng, and the rest were enraged. Cold killing intent emanated from their bodies, as they wished they could slap Lu Ming to death. However, when they saw Heavenly Emperor Hung Yu, the physique cultivators, and the 9 heavenly emperors from the Chaos Palace, they held themselves back. There were so many heavenly emperors, and even some peerless experts. This force was enough to wipe the Lan family off the face of this world. Therefore, they did not dare to kill Lu Ming. In fact, if they wanted to kill Lu Ming in the future, they would not dare to let others know. Otherwise, this force would be enough to wipe them out. They were mad with hatred, but now they could only suppress it in their stomachs. Hand him over, Lu Ming said indifferently again. Lan Cheng almost vomited blood from anger, and so did the rest of the Lan family. Lan family's old ancestor's face was incomparably gloomy as he squeezed out a word. Hand him over. Go and find those who attacked Lu Ming back then, Lan Cheng ordered. Not long after, some true emperors from the Lan family arrived. They were all the people who killed Bai Tai and Lu Ming back then. At this time, these people looked at Lu Ming in horror. Yan family, where are your people? Lu Ming looked at the Yan family's heavenly emperor and said coldly, our Yan family's people are not here. It will take time to call them over. The Yan family's heavenly emperor said, I'll wait here. Lu Ming spoke calmly. He really started to wait there. At the scene, everyone was discussing in low voices. No one left and they all waited here. Time passed day by day. Finally, a rainbow light rushed over from afar. The Yan family's people had arrived. Some of them were the ones who attacked Lu Ming back then. When they saw Lu Ming, their faces changed drastically. Some were in disbelief. They thought that Lu Ming was dead. They did not expect that Lu Ming was still alive and well. After that, a master from the Yan family told the Yan family about what had happened. He hadn't told them before because he was afraid that they would resist and run away. Hearing this, the Yan family members were terrified. They simply couldn't believe that Lu Ming would force the Yan family's heavenly emperor to hand them over. Back then, it was the Yan family's celestial emperor who ordered them to attack Lu Ming. But now, the Yan family's celestial emperor was going to hand them over to protect himself. However, they didn't dare to say anything. This was the celestial emperor's decision. The celestial emperor's orders couldn't be disobeyed. They still had family and friends. The people from the Lan family and the Yan family gathered together. There were dozens of people in total. Lu Ming's gaze swept across these people. He remembered each and every one of them very clearly. Being swept by Lu Ming's gaze, these people all revealed frightened expressions. Boom! Lu Ming took a step forward, causing the void to tremble. I can give you a chance to fight me. As long as you can kill me, you can live. Lu Ming said indifferently. The Lan and Yan family's eyes lit up. Even the Lan family's ancestor, Lan Cheng, and the Yan family's heavenly emperor's eyes lit up. Although Lu Ming had defeated Xianyuan Yi only had the strength of a 15th level true emperor. On the other hand, these people had the strength of 17th level true emperors. One of them had even broken through in the past 2 years, reaching 18th level true emperor. Among them, there were more than a dozen 16th level true emperors and 15th level true emperors. This kind of strength was enough to kill Lu Ming. This was an excellent opportunity. Lu Ming was courting death. If they were to kill Lu Ming, the Chaos Hall's heavenly emperor, and the rest would have nothing to say. Promise him that you will seize the opportunity to kill him. As long as you can kill him, I will reward you handsomely. I will do my best to help you become a great emperor. Lan Cheng transmitted to these people. Those people's eyes lit up, especially the few strongest experts, whose eyes were incomparably bright. This might be a blessing in disguise. As long as they could kill Lu Ming, they would be handsomely rewarded. Bang! Bang! Lu Ming stepped on the void like a primordial beast. Every step he took caused the void to rumble, as he closed in on the true emperors from the Lan and Yin clans. Attack! One of them roared and charged at Lu Ming. Pulling one hair would affect the whole body. When one person attacked, the others all charged at Lu Ming. There were dozens of true emperors, and the weakest among them was a 10th order true emperor. Their combined strength was terrifying. Dozens of attacks came at Lu Ming from all directions, wanting to drown Lu Ming. Can Lu Ming be their match? Everyone's eyes were fixated on the battlefield. Boom! At this time, Lu Ming made his move. He ignored the attacks in front of him and charged forward with brute force. The attacks that landed on Lu Ming's body were destroyed. Die! Lu Ming roared and punched out with both fists. Streaks of terrifying fist force blasted forward. In front of him there were 5 to 6 figures. Their bodies were like huge watermelons, and they were directly blasted into the air. So strong! Many people's hearts trembled. Those people were all 10th order true emperors and above. There was even a 15th order true emperor among them, but they were still killed by Lu Ming with a single punch. After killing those people, Lu Ming didn't stop, and continued to charge forward. Lu Ming pushed his physical strength to the limit. At the same time, he erupted with world force and several types of laws. Lu Ming only used 4 types of laws, but these people were no match for him. Boom! A fist energy that was as thick as a mountain blasted open a large hole in the air. Wherever the fist energy passed, another 5 or 6 people were killed. One of them was a 16th level true emperor. Everyone sucked in a breath of cold air. They finally understood that Lu Ming didn't use his full strength in his battle with Xian Yuanyi. Otherwise, he could have killed Xian Yuanyi in one move. Xian Yuanyi's expression turned ugly. Those below 15th order true emperor, retreat and attack from afar. Those above 15th order true emperor, attack. Someone shouted. All of a sudden, they formed a temporary formation. Those below the 15th level of the true emperor retreated and attacked Lu Ming from the rear. Those above 15th order true emperor attacked Lu Ming fiercely. There were 2 17th level true emperors and 1 18th level true emperor. Their battle prowess was the most frightening. They launched a sure-kill attack. Die! Lu Ming didn't dodge and punched out. A 17th order true emperor's attack was destroyed by Lu Ming. Lu Ming's fist energy continued to crush his body. He screamed in despair as his body was torn apart. Whoosh! Lu Ming's body spun, and his right leg swept out like a whip towards another 17th order true emperor. This person couldn't withstand a single blow. Just like the previous one, he was sent flying for tens of thousands of miles by Lu Ming's kick before exploding. What? Everyone was shocked, their bodies and souls trembling. In particular, those who had fought with Lu Ming were even more shocked, revealing a horrified and incredulous expression. 2 17th order true emperors couldn't withstand a single blow from Lu Ming. Chapter 2331. The others who were fighting Lu Ming turned pale with fright, especially the 18th level true emperor. He could not kill 2 true emperors with combat strength of 17th level true emperor so easily. Lu Ming's combat strength was far above his. Run, run! The remaining people had the same thought, and turned to run. The 18th level true emperor was the fastest. You want to run? A cold glint flashed in Lu Ming's eyes as his 6 feathered wings appeared. With a flap, Lu Ming caught up to the 18th level true emperor. Seeing that he could not escape, the powerhouse with the combat strength of a level 18 true emperor turned around and roared. He unleashed all his strength and charged toward Lu Ming. However, it was all in vain. Lu Ming's fist landed, directly crushing the other party's attack and penetrating the other party's body. The terrifying force tore the other party's body. Lu Ming reached out and grabbed the other party's heart of the world. The 18th level true emperor was killed instantly. Many people were speechless. This level of power was too terrifying. What was an 18th level true emperor? One of the laws must be a supreme law. Controlling 9 different laws at the same time would give one the battle prowess of an 18th level true emperor. Only the top geniuses could reach this level. Some of them only managed to comprehend a supreme law after becoming an emperor. However, they were also terrifying geniuses with limitless potential. Clearly Lu Ming was one of them. Lan Cheng and the others felt their hearts bleeding. Today, they had lost Lan Yun one after another, as well as that expert just now. This was definitely an unimaginable loss. However, they could only watch helplessly as Lu Ming massacred those people. Die! Lu Ming let out a long howl and flapped his 6 feathered wings continuously. His speed was extremely fast as he charged toward the remaining people. They screamed and begged, but it was useless. It was too late for regrets as Lu Ming killed them one by one. Not long after, dozens of experts fell, and their world cores were taken away by Lu Ming. What kind of power is this? An 18th level true emperor can't even fight back. Too shocking. From now on, no one in the younger generation can compete with Lu Ming. His opponents will be the older generation. The so-called 9 severals can't even withstand a single blow from him. At the scene, countless people were discussing. Their hearts were in turmoil, and it was difficult for them to calm down. How can this be? Hung Xinghe, Yuan Xian, and the others who had a conflict with Lu Ming were dumbfounded. Their eyes widened in disbelief. During the 10 Earths competition, Lu Ming was strong, but not much stronger than them. Moreover, they were confident that they could surpass Lu Ming in the future and crush Lu Ming if he couldn't become an emperor. However, it had only been a few years, and Lu Ming's ability had already reached a height that they could not reach. The difference was too great. The current Lu Ming could kill them with a single finger. They were still in the Void Emperor realm, while Lu Ming could kill an 18th level true emperor. They couldn't compare at all. Awesome, I'll definitely follow him in the future. My hair. Young Monk kept shouting. We have to work hard too. Otherwise, we'll be left behind by Lu Ming. Indeed. Long Chun, Huang Ling and the others sighed. Father, mother was right. Father is unparalleled in the world. No one can compare to him. Looking at Lu Ming in the sky, Lu Shenhuang clenched his fists in excitement. Lan Cheng, the Yin clan's heavenly emperor, the Long clan's ancestor, and the others were furious, but they could only endure it. Let's go. The old ancestor of the Long clan shouted coldly. He turned around and was about to leave. Lan Cheng and the others did the same. Wait! Lu Ming's voice sounded. The Long clan's ancestor and the others stopped. What else do you want? Lan Cheng held back his anger and asked. The Long clan's patriarch is really forgetful. I won first place, so where are the 100 chaos stones? Give them to me. Lu Ming said indifferently. You. Lan Cheng almost vomited blood. Lu Ming had killed so many people from the Long clan today, and now, he was asking him for chaos stones. That was ridiculous. What? The Long clan said it yourself. Are you going to deny it? Are you talking nonsense? Or are you playing the others like monkeys? Lu Ming said indifferently. Lan Cheng was about to explode. Give it to him. The Long clan's ancestor said. In the end, Lan Cheng had no choice but to take out a storage ring and threw it to Lu Ming. Lu Ming took a look and saw that there were 100 chaos stones in it. Thank you. These chaos stones can help me improve my cultivation. Haha. Lu Ming laughed. Lan Cheng's eyelids and lips trembled. Thank you, my ass. If it wasn't for the situation, why would he give 100 chaos stones to Lu Ming? That was prepared for Xian Yuan Yi. Let's go. Lan Cheng squeezed out a word from the depths of his throat and turned to leave. The people from the Long clan, the Yin clan, and the forces related to the Long clan left one after another and entered the large palace in the depths of the Long clan. Lu Ming didn't let Tu Yi, Jin Yi, and the other body cultivators stay. With their strength, they were enough to flatten the Long clan. However, the Long clan and the Yin clan were great forces after all. They had an ancient heritage and a few heavenly emperors. To the heaven realm, they were still very useful. If Lu Ming completely flattened the Long clan because of Bai Tai, he would probably be stopped by the other heavenly emperors in the heaven realm. Moreover, the Long clan's ancestor was a peerless expert. If he ran away desperately, they had no confidence in stopping him. However, if a crazy peerless expert took revenge, it would be too terrifying. But now, the other party was wary of Lu Ming's strength and definitely wouldn't dare to take revenge. At least, they wouldn't dare to take revenge openly. All around, everyone sighed. They didn't expect that today's matter would evolve like this. Today, the Long clan was originally the main character, and Xianyuan Yi was the main character. Xianyuan Yi defeated Lin Xiaofeng and stepped onto the peak, becoming the #1 genius in the world. But everything, because of the appearance of Lu Ming, had undergone an earth-shaking change. In the end, the Long clan and the Yin clan suffered heavy losses and left dejectedly. Lu Ming became the only main character today. Ha ha ha, Lu Ming, long time no see. Monk Wuliang rushed out, his face full of smiles. Long Chen, Huang Ling, Huang Li, Ouyang Wushuang, and the others also stepped out and came to Lu Ming's side. Lu Ming greeted everyone one by one. Brother Long, this is for you. A jade bracelet appeared in Lu Ming's hand, and he handed it to Long Chen. This was Long Chen's fiancée Xian Yanlin, who asked Lu Ming to bring it to Long Chen. When Lu Ming was in the Divine Wilderness continent, he had taken the time to meet Xian Yanlin and told her about Long Chen's current situation. She asked Lu Ming to give Long Chen a bracelet. Long Chen's gaze trembled as he took the bracelet and cupped his fists to Lu Ming, saying, "Thank you. You're welcome. Xian Yanlin asked me to bring a message to you. She said that she will wait for you, no matter how many years it takes." Lu Ming said. Long Chen didn't say much, but there were tears in his tiger eyes. Father. Chapter 2332. Shen Huang. Lu Ming looked over and asked, "Where's your mother now?" "She's in the Grand Pure Heaven domain, not far from here," Lu Shenhuang said. "All right, let's leave this place first. Take me to your mother," Lu Ming said. Then they left Blue Moon City. Hundreds of thousands of miles away, Lu Ming, Long Chen Tu-yi Jin-yi, Heavenly Emperor Hengyu, and the others bade farewell and headed in a certain direction with Lu Shenhuang. Along the way, the father and son chatted a lot. Lu Ming also learned that Xian Yanqing had come to the Taiqing heavenly domain more than 10 years ago. All these years, he had been cultivating in the Taiqing heavenly domain and imparted cultivation to Lu Shenhuang. Lu Ming was secretly amazed. In just 10 years, Xian Yanqing was able to raise Lu Shenhuang's cultivation to the 3-star illusionary emperor realm, and his battle strength was even more shocking. Lu Shenhuang's talent was undoubtedly shocking, but it had a lot to do with Xian Yanqing's teaching method. "Shen Huang, has there been anything unusual with your mother over the years?" Lu Ming asked. "Yes." Lu Shenhuang nodded with a solemn expression and said, "Mother, there seems to be 2 people in my body. Sometimes they love me, sometimes they are as cold as ice, but they have one thing in common, which is that they teach me cultivation seriously." "Is that so?" Lu Ming murmured with a heavy heart. He remembered that Xian Yanqing was also like this in the land of infinite demons. The day before they were fine, but later, they wanted to kill him, as if they were different people. Lu Ming still did not know what was going on. It was exactly the same as what Lu Shenhuang said. The two chatted as they hurried along. It was the first time the father and son met. They were a little distant at first, but as they chatted, they felt that their relationship had become much closer. They were very fast. A few days later, they arrived in a mountain range. There was a lake at the top of the highest mountain. The lake was like a mirror that adorned the peak of the mountain, making this place look like a paradise. There was a figure standing on the shore of the lake. Her black dress fluttered in the wind, revealing a pair of jade-like beautiful legs that were slender and straight. Her long black hair reached her waist and fluttered in the wind, making her look like a goddess who had descended to the mortal world. Xiaoqing. Lu Ming's heart skipped a beat as joy filled his heart. That figure was definitely Xian Yanqing. Lu Ming would never mistake it. Even if it was just a back view, Lu Ming would never forget it. It had been more than 10 years. It had been more than 10 years since they parted in the land of all demons. Mother! Lu Shenhuang shouted and flew towards Xian Yanqing. Divine Wilderness, you're back. What did you gain from this trip? What kind of prodigy did he encounter? Xian Yanqing spoke. Her clear and melodious voice rang out, and then she turned around. She looked exactly the same as before. After more than 10 years, Xian Yanqing's face had not changed at all. She was still as beautiful as ever. Lu Ming looked at Xian Yanqing in a daze. When Xian Yanqing turned around, she also saw Lu Ming. Her words came to an abrupt halt as she looked at Lu Ming in a daze. Lu Ming! Xian Yanqing whispered as if she could not believe that she would meet Lu Ming here. Moreover, Lu Ming came with Lu Shenhuang. This was beyond her expectations. Mother, look who I brought. Lu Shenhuang flew over. Lu Ming! Xian Yanqing whispered, tears welling up in her eyes. She missed him dearly. Then, she stepped into the air and flew toward Lu Ming. Lu Ming also flew over. However, when Xian Yanqing was halfway there, her delicate body trembled. At this moment, her eyes changed and became as cold as a knife. When she looked at Lu Ming, her eyes were filled with killing intent. Despicable Aunt Dai. A cold voice came out of Xian Yanqing's mouth. A jet-black sword light slashed towards Lu Ming. Not good. Lu Ming's face changed drastically. Xian Yanqing's move was a fatal threat to him. He felt that if he was hit by this move, he would definitely die. Retreat! Lu Ming retreated. At this moment, Lu Ming unleashed all his strength and retreated like a bolt of lightning. However, the black sword gleam was like an awl attached to a bone. It followed closely behind Lu Ming, and was even faster than him. Block! A spear condensed in Lu Ming's hand. This long spear was formed by intertwining 9 types of laws. It was Lu Ming's most powerful ability, Infinite Dragon Spear. At the same time, the power of Lu Ming's physical body and the power of the world erupted. Whoosh! Whoosh! The spear vibrated as Lu Ming thrust out several hundred times. Several hundred spear lights pierced towards the jet-black sword light. This could be considered Lu Ming's strongest attack at the moment. No true emperor could stop this move. Boom! 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 Hundreds of spear auras continuously bombarded the jet-black sword aura, causing continuous explosions. However, the jet-black sword light was incomparably sharp. Lu Ming's spear lights were shattered inch by inch and swept away. Whoosh! Even though Lu Ming tried his best to resist and retreat at the same time, a ray of light still swept past Lu Ming. Although Lu Ming had activated the indestructible golden body and the defensive power of his physical body, he could not withstand the attack. His body was almost slashed into 2. There was a deep wound, and even his bones were broken. Lu Ming spat out a mouthful of blood. His eyes were filled with shock. Great Emperor! He could clearly sense that Xian Yanqing's cultivation had reached the Great Emperor realm. This speed was too fast. One had to know that Lu Ming's cultivation speed was astonishing. It could be said that he was advancing at a tremendous pace. However, Xian Yanqing's speed was even faster than his. He had entered the Great Emperor realm. Coupled with his terrifying strength, Lu Ming was no match for him. The difference was too great. Die! When Xian Yanqing saw that she did not manage to kill Lu Ming with one blow, she revealed a trace of surprise. With a shout, she charged towards Lu Ming again. Mother, don't! At this moment, Lu Shenhuang shouted and rushed over in a panic. Hearing Lu Shenhuang's voice, Xian Yanqing's body trembled. She stopped chasing and her eyes were filled with struggle. Mother, don't kill father, don't! Lu Shenhuang shouted and rushed over, blocking in front of Xian Yanqing. Taking advantage of this opportunity, Lu Ming circulated the indestructible ancient scripture to heal his injuries. His wounds healed at an astonishing speed. Little Qing, wake up, it's me! Lu Ming shouted. Mother, it's father! Lu Shenhuang also shouted. The struggle in Xian Yanqing's eyes became more and more intense. In the end, she shouted, Lu Ming, leave now! With that, Xian Yanqing turned and left. He turned into a ray of light and disappeared. Little Qing! Lu Ming shouted and chased after her. However, Xian Yanqing was too fast. At this moment, Xian Yanqing's figure was nowhere to be seen. Damn it, What's going on? Lu Ming roared. He couldn't figure it out. Xian Yinqing's situation didn't seem like she had been possessed. When they first met, she was indeed Xian Yinqing, just like before. But immediately, she seemed to have changed into another person. Chapter 2333. The father and son stood there and looked at each other, not knowing what to do. Lu Ming. At this moment a voice sounded. Lu Ming turned around and saw a graceful figure in a long white dress. She looked almost the same as Xian Yinqing. She was unparalleled in her beauty. Xian Yinjuan. Lu Ming was tongue-tied. He never thought that Xian Yinjuan would be nearby. Back at Yuan Mountain, Lu Ming went to the ancient sacred tribe to find Xian Yinjuan. His purpose was to inquire about Xian Yinqing, but the people of the ancient sacred tribe told him that Xian Yinjuan had left, and no one knew where he went. It turned out that Xian Yinjuan had also come to the heaven world. And Lu Shenhuang smiled and flew over. Obviously, Lu Shenhuang and Xian Yinjuan had known each other for a long time. Xian Yinjuan stepped in the air and arrived in front of Lu Ming. He curiously looked at Lu Ming. Lu Ming, long time no see. Your cultivation has improved a lot. Xian Yinjuan smiled. Not as good as you, Lu Ming said. He looked at Xian Yinjuan, and the surprise in his eyes became stronger. Unfathomable. In his eyes, Xian Yinjuan was unfathomable. He had no idea what Xian Yinjuan's current cultivation level was. However, it was definitely not a true emperor. It was definitely above a true emperor. The great emperor realm. It was very likely that Xian Yinjuan's cultivation was also in the great emperor realm. At the thought of this, Lu Ming was dumbfounded. What was going on? How could Xian Yinqing and Xian Yinjuan's cultivation speed be so fast? One had to know that Lu Ming had experienced countless dangers to reach his current cultivation level. The other geniuses from Heaven World were even weaker. For example, Xian Yuan, he only had the strength of a 15th level true emperor. However, he was the strongest outside of Lu Ming. However, Xian Yinqing and Xian Yinjuan were around the same age as Lu Ming and the others, but they had already broken through to the great emperor realm. If news of this were to spread, it would probably scare people to death. Lu Ming, do you really want to know why Xian Yinqing is like this now? Xian Yinjuan said with a smile. You know, Lu Ming's eyes lit up. Of course I know. Let's go to the side and talk. Little guy, don't follow me. Xian Yinjuan said one last sentence to Lu Shenhuang, and then stepped towards the center of the lake. Lu Ming followed. The two came to the center of the lake and stood on the surface. Lu Ming looked at Xian Yinjuan and waited for her answer. Do you know about past and present life? Xian Yinjuan asked. Past and present life? Lu Ming was stunned. Xian Yinjuan did not answer, and only looked at Lu Ming with a smile. You mean reincarnation, past and present life? Lu Ming asked. That's right. Reincarnation, past and present life. Xian Yinjuan nodded. How is that possible? As far as I know, although there is the law of reincarnation in this world, no one can reincarnate. Once they fall, their body will die and their Tao will disappear. Everything will become nothing, Lu Ming said. At Lu Ming's current cultivation, he understood more. No one in this world could reincarnate. At most, one could seize another's body. Even a peak heavenly emperor invincible powerhouse could not reincarnate. Moreover, Lu Ming had also asked reincarnation heavenly emperor back then. Reincarnation heavenly emperor also gave a similar answer. No reincarnation. That's because those people are too weak. As long as the cultivation realm is there, everything is possible, Xian Yinjuan said, revealing a trace of faint disdain. Lu Ming was tongue-tied, not knowing how to answer for a moment. Too weak. A peak heavenly emperor invincible powerhouse was too weak in Xian Yinjuan's words? A peak heavenly emperor was already an invincible powerhouse in this world. According to Lu Ming's current knowledge, it seemed that only the ancestral dragon was above the heavenly emperor. Could it be that above the heavenly emperor, there was reincarnation? You're saying that little Qing is the reincarnation of a powerhouse, and now the memories of her past life have awakened? With Lu Ming's wisdom, he immediately thought of a lot. That's right. Xian Yinqing is indeed the reincarnation of a powerhouse. Moreover, the memories of her past life have already awakened. This is also why when you see Xian Yinqing, it's like there are two people in her body. Originally, the awakening of the memories of the past life has to be fused with the memories of this life. In the end, with the memories of the past life as the main force, she will once again embark on the supreme path, and even surpass the past life. There is also a great possibility. However, Xian Yinqing is unwilling to fuse the past life with this life. Because once fused, the memories of the past life will be the main force. At that time, I'm afraid that Xian Yinqing will not be the current Xian Yinqing. Therefore, the current situation will occur. Xian Yinjuan explained. So that's how it is. After listening to Xian Yinjuan's explanation, Lu Ming suddenly understood. There was actually reincarnation in the world, and Xian Yinqing had awakened the memories of her past life, but she was unwilling to fuse the memories of her past life with this life. Xian Yinqing was definitely unwilling to fuse because she couldn't let go. Therefore, it was like there were two people in Xian Yinqing's body. One moment, she was controlled by the memories of her past life, and the other moment, she was controlled by the memories of this life. Xian Yinqing's past life must have been an incomparably powerful powerhouse, but her body was taken by Lu Ming, and her chastity was taken away. She felt humiliated, so when she saw Lu Ming, she wanted to kill Lu Ming. Various thoughts flashed through Lu Ming's mind. Also, back in the Devil Sea in the land of infinite devils, those black-robed men had seized the ancient demon coffin and placed Xian Yinqing inside. It was very likely that they had helped Xian Yinqing awaken the memories of her past life. Lu Ming had figured everything out. Whoosh! Lu Ming took a deep breath, looked at Xian Yinjuan, and said, "You are also the reincarnation of a powerhouse, right?" "That's right. And in my previous life, Xian Yinqing and I were also sisters." Xian Yinjuan smiled. Lu Ming was slightly surprised. In his previous life, Xian Yinjuan and Xian Yinqing were actually sisters, and they had both reincarnated. After reincarnating, they were also sisters. No wonder the two of them looked so similar. And it was obvious that Xian Yinjuan's memories of her past life had already fused. However, in the history of the Heaven Realm, were there such two powerhouses? What realm were you in your previous life? Could it be the realm above the Celestial Emperor? Lu Ming was extremely puzzled, and more questions emerged in his heart. Above the Celestial Emperor? Haha, forget it, let's not talk about this. Even if I tell you, you won't understand. I'll teach you how to help Xian Yinqing. Xian Yinjuan said. You have a way. Lu Ming's eyes lit up. Of course, you just need to help her, and let her memories of her past life fuse. Xian Yinjuan said. No, according to what you said, the past life will be the dominant one in the fusion of the memories of the past life. At that time, Shaoqing will not be Shaoqing. No. Lu Ming shook his head. This was hard for him to accept. Who said that the previous life must be the dominant one after the fusion? Xian Yinjuan curled her lips and said. Now Xian Yinqing's two memories are fighting for control. As long as one of them has the upper hand and devours the other's memory with an absolute advantage, then the winner will naturally be the dominant one. For example, Xian Yinqing's memory of this life has the upper hand and devours the memory of her past life. That means that she only has an extra memory, and it has no effect on her personality. Xian Yinqing is still Xian Yinqing, understand? Chapter 2334. Lu Ming nodded. He could understand this point. Just like when he merged with some of the 9 dragons' memory fragments, it did not affect him. He only gained some extra memories, but he was still him. He would not become another person. It was the same for Xian Yinqing. As long as Xian Yinqing's memories of this life took the upper hand and devoured the memories of her previous life, then it would be equivalent to her gaining a few more memories. Not only would she be fine, but she would also obtain a great opportunity. What should I do to make Xian Yinqing's memories of this life devour her memories of her previous life? Lu Ming asked. It's very simple. Xian Yinjuan smiled slyly and said, Actually, you have a great advantage now. You have a son, Xian Yinqing's in your son. With a son by your side, Xian Yinqing's memories of this life will be greatly affected. It will make her more obsessed and unwilling to let go. It is also because of this that her memories of this life are not merged with the memories of her previous life. In the future, as long as you can stay by Xian Yinqing's side and accompany her more, her obsession will naturally become stronger. You can even sleep with her more often. Her memories of this life will naturally take over and devour her memories of her previous life. Lu Ming was a little confused. Sleep with her more often. It was that simple. How is it? Do you feel very happy? The method I taught you is not bad, right? Xian Yinjuan smiled. Lu Ming smiled bitterly. Her memories of her previous life make her hate me to death. I'm afraid she will kill me before I can even get close to her, let alone sleep with her. Lu Ming touched his nose and said, therefore your cultivation is too weak. In the future cultivate well. As long as your cultivation surpasses Xian Yinqing, you will be able to suppress her and subdue her. Then, you will be able to do whatever you want. Xian Yinjuan smiled slyly. Lu Ming was completely speechless. He felt immense pressure. The main reason was that Xian Yinqing's cultivation speed was too fast. She was the reincarnation of an unknown powerful expert. Even if her memories of her previous life and this life were not merged, her cultivation speed was still astonishing. Now she was already in the Great Emperor realm. It was too difficult for Lu Ming to catch up, or even surpass Xian Yinqing. Other than this method, is there no other way? Lu Ming did not give up and asked. There is no other way. Xian Yinjuan shook his head. So little Qing won't recover in a short time? Lu Ming asked again. Yes. Xian Yinjuan nodded. Lu Ming sighed helplessly. At the end of the day his cultivation level was too weak. Why are you helping me? After a while Lu Ming asked curiously. It's very simple. Once Xian Yinqing's memories of this life, and her previous life's memories are devoured, her cultivation speed will definitely drop. In the future, she will no longer be my opponent. As she spoke, Xian Yinjuan giggled. Lu Ming was speechless. So this was the reason. By letting the memories of her previous life take over, Xian Yinqing would become a terrifying expert. Her cultivation speed would naturally be astonishing. However, if the memories of this life devoured the memories of her previous life, she would only gain a few more memories. Although it was a supreme opportunity, there would still be a huge gap. In the end, Lu Ming stayed here and accompanied Lu Shenhuang for a while, giving him some cultivation resources. Lu Shenhuang did not cultivate the law system, but Xian Yinqing's system. Lu Ming had never seen it before, but it was extremely exquisite and powerful. Lu Ming stayed for another month, but during this month, Xian Yinqing did not appear. Lu Ming was helpless. After a month, Lu Ming left. Lu Shenhuang did not leave with Lu Ming. He continued to stay by Xian Yinqing's side. Cultivate. I must speed up my cultivation speed, and help little Qing's memories of this life devour the memories of her previous life. On the way back, Lu Ming swore to himself. Originally, he thought that his cultivation speed was already very fast. Previously, he had defeated Xinyuan Yi and suppressed all the elites to obtain first place. This made him feel like he was standing at the peak. But now he had a lot of pressure. Because of Xian Yinqing. Xian Yinqing's cultivation speed was faster than his. To catch up or even surpass Xian Yinqing was easier said than done. This forced Lu Ming to constantly move forward. Not long after, Lu Ming contacted Tu Yi and the others. Lu Ming brought Tu Yi and the rest, as well as the body cultivators, back to Two World City. With the addition of these experts, Two World City's strength increased greatly. The news of the battle in Blue Moon City had already spread throughout the Grand Pure Sky domain. Lu Ming's reputation had reached its peak. After defeating Xinyuan Yi, Lu Ming stood at the peak of the younger generation without a doubt. And behind Lu Ming stood a shocking number of heavenly emperors. Without a doubt, Lu Ming already had a great influence in the heaven domain, even greater than some heavenly emperors. After Lu Ming returned to Two World City, he devoted himself to cultivation. As for Long Chun, Huang Ling, Bubbles, and the others, they also came to Two World City to cultivate. Sometimes, they would go to the battlefield outside Two World City to train themselves. In addition, Heng Xinghe, Yuan Xian Tianming, and the other geniuses of the heaven domain, including Jiuju, were all cultivating with all their might. The battle in Blue Moon City showed them Lu Ming's battle strength. Lu Ming brought them unimaginable pressure, making them understand their own shortcomings, forcing all the geniuses to cultivate with all their might. In this great era where geniuses were as common as clouds, if one stagnated or did not improve fast enough, they would be surpassed and crushed by others. Time flew by, and in the blink of an eye, 5 years had passed. 5 years was just a blink of an eye for some heavenly emperors. However, 5 years was of great significance to geniuses like Lu Ming and the rest. In these 5 years, Lu Ming had made great progress in all aspects. First, Lu Ming had cultivated the 7 gods' mysterious art to the late 4th level. This allowed Lu Ming's physical strength to skyrocket. Now Lu Ming could defeat and even kill an 18th level true emperor with just his physical strength. This was purely the power of his physical body. However, the drop of ancestral dragon blood in his heart was almost used up, leaving only a little bit. Moreover, Lu Ming's remaining laws had all reached the 3rd level. Lu Ming's 9 laws had all reached the 3rd level. In the last few years, Lu Ming had refined the 100 chaos stones he got from the Long clan. Lu Ming's cultivation had reached peak 6-star true emperor, not far from reaching 7-star true emperor. This was an all-around improvement. Lu Ming didn't know how strong he was now. In any case, he could kill an 18th level true emperor with a flick of his finger. I wonder how strong I am compared to a grand emperor right now. Lu Ming pondered. A grand emperor was much stronger than a true emperor. A great emperor had cultivated all 9 types of laws to the 3rd level, and then used the 9 types of laws to evolve into a great Tao. Chapter 2335. Thus, Lu Ming was curious to see if he could fight against a grand emperor. Let's give it a try. Lu Ming ended his cultivation and flew in the direction of the Two-World City. Soon, Lu Ming arrived at a spacious area. It was a drill ground of Two-World City. Usually the army and experts of Two-World City would train here. From afar, Lu Ming saw a few huge light shields. They were like a few big bowls that were placed upside down on the ground. Around the light barrier, there were many different living beings. There were humans and divine beasts. Lu Ming looked over and saw more than 10 true dragons circling around the body, suspended in the air, and looking seriously at one of the light shields. There were also 9 phoenixes, and more than 10 cheilants. Divine beasts that were rarely seen in other places could be seen everywhere. It wasn't just a rumor that half of the Grand Pure Celestial Realms experts were gathered in Two-World City. Boom! Boom! Intense rumbling sounds could be heard coming from several of the light shields. There were people fighting inside. Lu Ming flew over and came to one of the light shields. Inside there was a human expert and a gigantic heavenly snake. They were fighting and killing each other. Both of them were true emperors at the 15th level. They were considered top experts among true emperors. The beings around the barriers were all true emperors. This is the place where true emperors compete. Lu Ming's heart skipped a beat. These light shields were like fighting rings. They were places for the experts of Two-World City to fight against each other and train themselves. The barriers were formed by formations and were sturdy and indestructible. They could unleash their full power in battle. After all, it was too dangerous to train outside the city. The slightest carelessness could lead to death. Therefore, many people fought and killed each other here to train themselves. Of course, the effect wasn't as good as on the battlefield, because they couldn't kill their opponents here. At most, they would be heavily injured. Lu Ming. It's Lu Ming. Many people recognized Lu Ming as soon as he arrived, causing a commotion. Many people's expressions changed. Could it be that Lu Ming was going to make a move? No true emperor was a match for Lu Ming. 5 years ago, Lu Ming was already able to kill a true emperor with ease. Now that 5 years had passed, Lu Ming must have become even more unfathomable. However, Lu Ming did not plan to make a move. He wasn't interested in the true emperor realm, since it wouldn't do him any good. Lu Ming looked at it for a while before walking towards another light shield. The range of this light shield was more than 10 times larger than the previous one. Light flowed and flickered with a metallic luster. Inside, there were two figures clashing against each other. Terrifying rumbling sounds could be heard. Streams of energy shot out in all directions, but they were all blocked by the light barrier. The light barrier continued to vibrate, but it did not shatter. Great Emperor! Lu Ming's eyes lit up. The people fighting inside the light barrier were all Emperor Realm experts. There were also some people watching around the light barrier, but the number was much smaller. In the heaven world, there were many true emperors no less than void emperors. As long as one broke through to void emperor, it wasn't particularly difficult to break through to true emperor. As long as 3 types of laws reached the second realm, one's cultivation would reach the peak of 7-star void emperor. As long as one's talent wasn't too bad, it wouldn't be difficult to break through after a long time. However, to break through to great emperor, it wasn't something that could be achieved through patience. The prerequisite for breaking through to great emperor was to have 9 types of laws at the 3rd realm. Moreover, at least one of them had to be a King Dao law. Those who weren't talented enough wouldn't be able to reach this step in their lifetime. Not to mention comprehending the great Dao with 9 types of laws. There might not even be one great emperor among 100 true emperors. Great emperors were considered top-notch experts in the heaven world. They would be respected wherever they went. Therefore, it was normal that there were few great emperors here. Lu Ming. Seeing Lu Ming coming over, the great emperor's eyes moved. Could it be that Lu Ming wanted to spar with the great emperor? The great emperors weren't the only ones who thought so. The true emperors also thought so. Lu Ming went to the battlefield of the great emperors. Could it be that he wants to spar with the great emperor? Someone exclaimed in the true emperor's area. Impossible. The difference between true emperors and great emperors is too big. Even if Lu Ming could easily kill an 18th level true emperor, it would be difficult for him to fight against a great emperor. In history, there has never been a true emperor who could fight against a great emperor. Let's go and take a look. Many true emperors flew towards the battlefield of the great emperors. Even the battlefield of the void emperors further away was alarmed. Many void emperors also flew over to watch from afar. Lu Ming didn't say anything as he stared at the 2 people inside the light barrier. The 2 people inside the light barrier should be 2-star great emperors. The battle was extremely intense. Boom, boom. The 2 of them controlled the power of the Grand Dao and continuously attacked each other. Not long after, the 2 of them were evenly matched. It was considered a draw, and they retreated from the light barrier. Lu Ming, what are you doing here? Are you looking for a great emperor to spar with? At this moment, a voice rang out, and a burly middle-aged man walked over. That's right. Lu Ming nodded. He didn't hide anything. He had come to find a great emperor to spar with to test his fighting power. Many people were shocked. Lu Ming actually wanted to spar with a great emperor. What great confidence! A true emperor fighting against a great emperor? Hee, I have never heard of such a thing. Aren't you too arrogant? The middle-aged man sneered with a hint of mockery. Lu Ming squinted his eyes slightly. This person mocked him as soon as he arrived. It seemed like he was unhappy with him. Which force is he from? Lu Ming pondered. What's your cultivation? Lu Ming asked. 1-star great emperor. The middle-aged man replied. Alright, it's you then. I challenge you now. Come in and fight. Lu Ming was very direct and directly challenged the other party. Having said that, he stepped into the light barrier. The light barrier wouldn't have any reaction when one entered from the outside. However, if one was attacked from the inside, the light barrier would produce a strong defensive force. Seeing that Lu Ming dared to challenge him, the middle-aged man's eyes emitted a cold light. Everyone, Lu Ming is too arrogant and arrogant. He challenged me first. I didn't bully the young and the weak. The middle-aged man said excitedly. He originally wanted to find a reason to challenge Lu Ming. He didn't expect Lu Ming to challenge him first. This was exactly what he wanted. Although he was only a 1-star great emperor, and had only comprehended an ordinary Grand Dao, he was confident that he could easily suppress Lu Ming. A great emperor was far from being comparable to a true emperor. Even the top prodigies with 1 supreme law and 8 monarch laws at the 3rd level only had the battle prowess of an 18th order true emperor. Even the weakest great emperor was much stronger than an 18th level true emperor. Chapter 2336. Everyone present was shocked. They did not expect Lu Ming to really want to fight with a great emperor. Moreover, he took the initiative to issue a challenge. A true emperor against a grand emperor. This was enough to shock the world. Boom. The middle-aged burly man took a step forward and entered the light shield, standing opposite Lu Ming. Who do you think will win, Lu Ming or Lan Jia? A few people whispered outside. I think Lan Jia will win. Lu Ming is strong and could easily kill an 18th-level true emperor 5 years ago. However, the difference between a true emperor and a grand emperor is too great. I've never heard of a true emperor being able to fight against a grand emperor. Even the strongest true emperor isn't a match for the weakest grand emperor. That's right. Lu Ming is definitely not a match for Lan Jia. I think Lu Ming will be defeated within 20 moves. 20 moves? If Lu Ming hasn't improved in the past 5 years, I think he won't even last 10 moves. Many people were discussing, but no one thought that Lu Ming would be able to fight with a great emperor. This was because the gap between them was too great. Lan Jia, looks like you're from the Lan clan, Lu Ming said indifferently with a cold glint in his eyes. No wonder Lan Jia mocked him the moment he appeared. So he was from the Lan clan. That's right, Lu Ming, you're too arrogant. Even though I can't kill you here, no one will say anything if I torture you, Lan Jia said ferociously. Is that so? Let's see if you have the ability to do so. Lu Ming smiled faintly. Then let's see what the number 1 genius of Heaven World is capable of. Lan Jia said coldly. With a loud bang, Lan Jia's figure dashed toward Lu Ming at an astonishing speed. He threw a punch at Lu Ming, as if Mount Tai was pressing down on him. At this moment, Lu Ming narrowed his eyes and unleashed the power of his physique and world. Swoosh. Lu Ming struck out with his palm. This palm was surrounded by 6 different lights, containing 6 different laws. The laws of primal chaos, the laws of death, the laws of devour, the laws of tools, the laws of array, and the laws of alchemy. This was a type of divine ability. Lu Ming had obtained an advanced version of the primal chaos ancient scripture, which contained many divine abilities and laws. One of the palm techniques contained 9 types of laws. It was the evolved version of the chaotic divine palm. However, of the 9 laws, Lu Ming had only cultivated 4 of them. Over the years, Lu Ming had improved them, incorporating the laws of death and other laws into Lu Ming's unique divine ability, making it even more powerful. What Lu Ming was using now was exactly this kind of mystique. Boom! Lu Ming's palm collided with Lan Jia's fist, and there was an earth-shattering explosion. A terrifying force shot out in all directions from the collision of the 2 people's fists and palms. It bombarded the light shield, but was blocked by the light shield. Bang! Bang! Both of their bodies trembled, and then they retreated a dozen or so steps, causing the ground to rumble and explode. What? Everyone's eyes widened in shock. In the first move, Lu Ming actually blocked the attack of the blue membrane. The 2 of them were evenly matched. How is this possible? Lan Yi hasn't used his full strength yet, it's only a probing attack. A Grand Emperor spoke. A Grand Emperor being forced back by a true emperor was a great loss of face. Even the other Grand Emperors felt ashamed. Lan Yi was enraged inside the light barrier. He had been forced back by a true emperor. This had never happened before. Lu Ming, you've successfully angered me. Die! Lan Ji roared. His body was like a cannonball, pouncing toward Lu Ming. Both his fists bombarded Lu Ming continuously. Before his fists reached Lu Ming, there was already a terrifying pressure that suppressed Lu Ming. This was the pressure of the Grand Tao. Great emperors could control the Great Tao and borrow the power of the Great Tao. The Grand Tao was a type of profundity that was even stronger than the laws. Lu Ming wasn't afraid at all, and countered with a palm strike. This time, another law appeared in Lu Ming's hand. 7 laws. Bang! Bang! The 2 continued to clash and exchanged dozens of moves in the blink of an eye. It was still a stalemate. The power of the Grand Tao is truly frightening. During the battle, Lu Ming was secretly shocked. Lu Ming's current abilities contained 7 laws, but they were in imminent danger under the onslaught of the Grand Tao. It felt as if they would be torn apart at any moment. If it wasn't for Lu Ming's powerful physical body, he wouldn't have been able to contend against the opponent. The two fought with speed and continued to clash. Terrifying shockwaves slammed into the light barrier, causing it to tremble violently. Damn it! Lanya roared. After so many moves, he still couldn't take down Lu Ming. It made him feel humiliated. If he couldn't defeat Lu Ming today, he would definitely become a laughingstock among the Grand Emperors. On the contrary, he helped Lu Ming, and made Lu Ming's reputation even higher. Roar! Suddenly, a shocking roar came from Lanya's body. Above his head, a huge lion appeared. It was a golden lion. Its fur was golden and dazzling. It was majestic and extraordinary. This wasn't a real lion, but a kind of divine ability. It was a divine ability condensed from the Grand Tao. This lion was covered in Lanya's body. Lanya was in the middle of the lion, as if he had transformed into a golden lion. Roar! The golden lion roared and pounced at Lu Ming. Finally using your ultimate move? Lu Ming's eyes narrowed. At this moment, 9 types of radiance spread out from Lu Ming's palm. 9 types of laws were all used. This divine ability was no weaker than the infinite dragon spear. It was most suitable for close combat. Whoosh! Lu Ming's figure also dashed out. He struck with his palm, and the void directly shattered, revealing a pitch-black void space. His palm seemed to be able to pierce through space. Meanwhile, Lanya swung his lion claw at Lu Ming. Boom! The two collided again. This time, the explosion was even more intense. A terrifying force was generated, but the result was still a draw. Both of them were forced to retreat. Impossible! Lanya roared in disbelief. He had used all of his strength, but still couldn't take down Lu Ming. This shocked him. He roared angrily and charged toward Lu Ming. The two of them were engaged in an intense fight. As for the spectators outside the light shield, they were all stunned. They were also extremely shocked. Oh heavens, Lu Ming can actually fight Lanya. He's not at a disadvantage at all. This is too scary. He's only a true emperor. How can he be this strong? What's going on? They're all true emperors, but they can't even withstand a single blow from him. Many people found it hard to believe. It was a fact that true emperors were no match for grand emperors. But now this truth was broken. Lu Ming's true emperor cultivation wasn't any weaker than a grand emperor. This was indeed a freak who used multiple laws to become an emperor. He couldn't be measured by common sense. Chapter 2337. In the blink of an eye, the two had exchanged dozens of blows, but it was still a stalemate. Great emperors are indeed extraordinary. This Lan Jie should only have comprehended an ordinary great Tao, but his power is so strong. I wonder how powerful the strongest great Tao is. Lu Ming's mind was filled with various thoughts. Great Tao was divided into 2 types. In the true emperor realm, those who did not comprehend the strongest law, and only used the monarch law and ordinary law to form a great Tao were called ordinary great Tao. As for those who had comprehended an ultimate law, they would use one ultimate law to create a great Tao that was derived from the laws of the monarch Tao. Within the same level, the strongest great Tao was much stronger than the ordinary great Tao. Lan Jie had only comprehended an ordinary great Tao, and was a 1-star great emperor. He was considered weak among great emperors. If a 1-star great emperor, who comprehended the strongest great Tao came, Lu Ming would not be able to defeat him. Then let's change the way of fighting. Lu Ming's eyes flashed and his attack suddenly changed. He attacked with all his might, and did not care about defense. This was a desperate fighting style. Lu Ming's attack suddenly increased, suppressing the blue membrane in an instant. Damn it, you don't care about defense. Do you think I'm afraid of you? Die. Lan Jie roared and gave up on defense to attack with all his might. Most people would reserve some strength for defense when fighting with others. Now that he attacked with all his might, both of them were hit. Bam! Bam! Lan Jie's fist landed on Lu Ming's shoulder. Lu Ming's palm also landed on Lan Jie's shoulder. Both of their bodies trembled and retreated frantically. The difference was that there was a dent in Lu Ming's shoulder. However, there was no blood flowing out, and the wound was recovering quickly. Lan Jie was in a much worse state. His shoulder seemed to have been slashed by a saber, and almost chopped off his arm. A deep wound appeared and blood flowed out. Even his bones were broken. Lan Jie's face was pale. Although the recovery ability of a great emperor was amazing, it could not be compared to Lu Ming's. Die! Lu Ming didn't give the blue membrane any time to recover and launched another attack. His blue membrane was injured, and one of his arms was almost unable to move. His battle prowess was greatly reduced, and for a time, he was completely at a disadvantage. He was no match for Lu Ming. Bang! Bang! After that, Lan Jin was hit continuously by Lu Ming's attacks until he spat out large mouthfuls of blood. Although he had also hit Lu Ming was not seriously injured, and his combat strength was not affected. Indestructible ancient scripture! Lan Ji roared out, extremely unwilling. He knew that Lu Ming was using the indestructible ancient scripture, so he was not afraid of being injured. Bang! This distraction gave Lu Ming another opportunity to land a palm strike on Lan Ye's face. Lan Ye let out a blood-curdling scream as his body was sent flying. Blood mixed with his teeth as he flew far away and crashed into the light barrier. Lan Jin's brain was buzzing. He was completely stunned. Of course, Lu Ming wouldn't let go of this opportunity. He rushed forward and unleashed a barrage of punches and kicks on Lan Jin's face and body. Lan Jin was like a punching bag that took dozens of blows from Lu Ming in the blink of an eye. After a few dozen moves, Lan Jin was sent flying and fell to the ground. He was covered in blood as he lay there twitching nonstop. Hiss! Gasps could be heard. Void true! And Grand Emperors outside the light barrier all had their mouths agape. Their hearts were in turmoil. A Grand Emperor was defeated by a young true Emperor. Moreover, he had been defeated so miserably. He had been abused so badly that he did not even look human anymore. Even his mother could not recognize him. What a tragedy! Needless to say, Lan Jin would become a laughingstock, while Lu Ming's reputation would be pushed to the peak. A true emperor defeating a grand emperor was breaking the truth and creating a miracle. Haha, not bad, I enjoyed myself today. Lu Ming laughed. He had basically figured out his own combat strength. He was probably on par with the weakest grand emperor. Of course, he could use the indestructible ancient scripture and go all out to suppress Lan Jin. He should be able to compete with a one-star great emperor who had comprehended the strongest grand Tao. His main goal in this battle was to test his strength. Now that the results were out, Lu Ming planned to leave. Initially, Lan Jie was a little more clear-headed. After hearing Lu Ming's words, he was so angry that he spat out a mouthful of blood. He roared and fainted. He fainted. Lu Ming curled his lips and stepped out of the light barrier. When the others saw Lu Ming coming out, they automatically made way for him. This was a kind of invisible power. Lu Ming was so young, but his combat strength had already reached the great emperor realm. In a few more years, he would definitely become an invincible overlord in the future. Lu Ming left the place and returned to his residence. With a thought, his soul materialized in the small world. He appeared on top of a mountain peak and looked into the distance. The current lesser world had a radius of 600,000 miles. It was vast and boundless. Moreover, Lu Ming had planted many spiritual herbs and sacred herbs in the lesser world. He had also scattered the seeds of various plants. Now there were many places in the lesser world that were covered in lush green grass and all kinds of flowers. There were also some small trees in some places. The lesser world was still young, and there were no big trees yet. Similarly, there were no animals or demonic beasts. However, the lesser world was becoming more and more similar to the outside world. Lu Ming planned to let some animals and demonic beasts into the lesser world in the future. That way, it would be no different from the outside world. Of course, Lu Ming's cultivation had improved rapidly, but there were still large areas that were dead and lifeless. This required time for the plants in the lesser world to slowly reproduce. With a thought, Lu Ming came to the foot of the Tree of Enlightenment. The Enlightenment ancient tree was planted on a plain. It was now 500 meters tall. This was entirely the credit of the five-colored soil. The 500-meter-tall Enlightenment ancient tree pierced straight through the sky. The tree trunk was incomparably thick. Between the branches there was great Tao lingering. Cultivating here, the speed of comprehending laws would be greatly enhanced. with the martial Dao ancient tree as the center. This plain was covered in lush green grass and clusters of fresh flowers, their fragrance assailing the nostrils. It was mainly because of the five-colored soil. The vegetation in this area was exceptionally strong. There were also many spiritual herbs and sacred herbs, their medicinal fragrance also assailing the nostrils. Lu Ming sat cross-legged under the Enlightenment ancient tree and cultivated quietly. And regarding the matter of Lu Ming defeating Lan Mo, it was spreading out with the speed of a whirlwind. But those who heard this news were first stunned, then overjoyed, amazed, jealous, roaring, all kinds of expressions, all kinds of emotions. Lu Ming stirred up another wave in the vast land of the Grand Pure Sky domain. 7 days passed in a twinkle. On this day, Heavenly Emperor Hung Yu came to Lu Ming's residence. Heavenly Emperor Hung Yu did not conceal his aura. The moment he arrived, Lu Ming sensed it. Lu Ming ended his cultivation and met with Heavenly Emperor Hung Yu. Senior Hung Yu, I wonder what you came to find Lu Ming for? Lu Ming said with a slight smile. Lu Ming, I heard that you defeated Lan Mo, so I came to take a look. Ha ha ha, really impressive. Even I was taken aback. Chapter 2338. Heavenly Emperor Hung Yu was overjoyed. Lu Ming came from the primordial realm, and he had a deep relationship with Lu Ming. Seeing Lu Ming's achievements made him happier than if he had made a breakthrough himself. Lu Ming, with your current strength, I'm afraid that training in Two World City won't do you any good. Heavenly Emperor Hung Yu said, I'm planning to cultivate for a while and raise my cultivation to the peak of the true Emperor realm before heading to the Great Emperor battlefield. Lu Ming said, Great Emperor battlefield? I'm afraid it won't do you any good. Heavenly Emperor Hung Yu said, Won't do you any good? Lu Ming was stunned. Wasn't there a lot of great emperors from both sides fighting and training in the Great Emperor battlefield? Now, there's no one in the Great Emperor battlefield. The great emperors from both sides have gone to the Void Sacred Island. Heavenly Emperor Hung Yu said, Void Sacred Island? Lu Ming was puzzled. It was his first time hearing this name. That's right. The Void Sacred Island is a mysterious place that was discovered a few years ago. It's located in the eternal void and contains countless treasures. Now many great emperors have entered the Void Sacred Island. Heavenly Emperor Hung Yu explained. Even the foreign races can enter? Lu Ming asked. That's right. That Void God Island is located in the void and floats there for eternity. Both sides can reach it, and it contains countless treasures. Heavenly materials, primordial stones, primeval stones, fragments of great Tao, imprints of the heavenly Tao, and even weapons of heavenly Tao. Heavenly Emperor Hung Yu's eyes were burning with passion as he spoke. There are even heavenly Tao weapons. Lu Ming was shocked. Heavenly Tao weapons were heavenly emperor weapons that contained the heavenly Tao. Once a heavenly emperor controlled a heavenly emperor weapon and activated the heavenly Tao's power, the heavenly emperor's combat strength would increase greatly. However, heavenly emperor weapons were extremely rare. Heavenly emperor weapons weren't like great emperor weapons. Heavenly emperors could forge great emperor weapons, and even some powerful great emperors could forge them. However, heavenly emperors couldn't forge heavenly Tao weapons themselves. The heavenly emperor could only borrow the power of the heavenly Tao. It was impossible for him to forge a weapon that contained the heavenly Tao. A celestial emperor weapon could only be forged by a supreme expert who had surpassed the celestial emperor. In addition, there were also some celestial emperor weapons that contained the heavenly Tao that could be nurtured in nature. But they were extremely few in number. In fact, the majority of heavenly emperors still used great emperor weapons and did not have any heavenly emperor weapons. Once a heavenly emperor gained control of a heavenly emperor weapon, the heavenly emperor's battle prowess would skyrocket. Therefore, the price of a celestial emperor armament was astonishingly high. Lu Ming hadn't expected the Void Sacred Island to contain a celestial emperor weapon. That's right, and there are definitely a lot of them. In the past few years, there have been people who have brought out celestial emperor weapons from there, causing a commotion. The fiery look in Heavenly Emperor Hung Yu's eyes became even more intense. He did not have a celestial emperor weapon either. For example, the heavenly monarch sword in Lu Ming's hand was not a heavenly monarch weapon. It was only a great monarch weapon, and did not contain the heavenly Tao. Wouldn't even the celestial emperors be jealous of such a treasure land? What's the use of a great emperor going in? Lu Ming was puzzled. The void sacred island contains an astonishing pressure that can suppress the heavenly Tao. Heavenly emperors can't enter at all. Only those below the heavenly emperor level can enter. Therefore, a great emperor is the most suitable to enter. Heavenly Emperor Hung Yu said. What? It can even suppress the heavenly Tao. This. Lu Ming's eyes widened in shock. What was the highest in this world? It was the heavenly Tao. The heavenly Tao controlled all things in the world. All things in the world existed and evolved under the operation of the heavenly Tao. Heavenly emperors were the pinnacle of martial arts, but they could only borrow the power of the heavenly Tao. Now Lu Ming heard that there was a pressure that could suppress the heavenly Tao. Naturally, he was incomparably shocked. Could it be the ancestral dragon's realm? Lu Ming's heart stirred, and he thought of the ancestral dragon. Dandan had once said that the ancestral dragon's realm had surpassed the heavenly emperor realm. It had reached a completely different realm, a supreme realm. Many people speculate that the void sacred island was the dojo of a supreme figure in the distant past. It floated in the eternal void. Such a figure had already transcended the heavenly Tao, and even the heavenly Tao was suppressed by him. That's why there was such a terrifying pressure. This also explains why there are so many heavenly emperor weapons in the void sacred island. Such a figure could definitely refine a heavenly emperor weapon. Heavenly Emperor Hung Yu explained. Lu Ming was deeply shocked. It was hard to imagine such a dojo. It wouldn't be surprising if there were any treasures in it. I came this time to ask you if you want to go to the Void Sacred Island. However, the Void Sacred Island is very dangerous. There are already some dangerous places on the island. In addition, there are great emperors of the foreign races and the great emperors of the heavenly world. If you don't want to go, you can cultivate in the two-world city. Heavenly Emperor Hung Yu said. I'll go. Lu Ming immediately nodded. His eyes were firm. Lu Ming would definitely not miss out on such a precious place. There were all kinds of heavenly treasures, chaos stones, primordial stones, great Tao fragments, etc. These would definitely be helpful to Lu Ming's cultivation. Moreover, tempering himself on the island and fighting for his life would be even greater for Lu Ming. If he wanted to catch up and even surpass Xian Yanqing, he definitely wouldn't be able to do it according to normal cultivation. He had to take risks. Alright, I'll arrange it for you. However, there's one thing you have to remember. On the Void Sacred Island, there are times when danger comes from the people of the heavenly world. There are no restrictions when fighting for treasures on the Void Sacred Island. Heavenly Emperor Hung Yu said. Lu Ming nodded. He had experienced so much and naturally understood this point. During this period, try to improve your strength as much as possible. I'll inform you when I'm done with the arrangements. Heavenly Emperor Hung Yu said and left. On the other hand, Lu Ming returned to his residence and thought about the direction of his cultivation. Next, Lu Ming planned to raise his cultivation to the 7-star True Emperor realm. This was currently the fastest way to improve his combat strength. Once his cultivation reached the 7-star True Emperor realm, he could try to break through to the Great Emperor realm. However, Lu Ming didn't plan to break through to the Great Emperor realm so quickly. Once he broke through to the Great Emperor realm, his Tao would be fixed. It would be difficult to integrate more laws. Lu Ming had an ambition. He wanted to cultivate all 10 supreme laws to the 3rd level, and then break through to the Great Emperor realm. Then, he didn't know what level his Tao would reach. This was something that ordinary people wouldn't dare to think about. However, Lu Ming could do it. After thinking for a while, Lu Ming took out a few world cores and began to refine them to increase his world energy. He had already refined all the chaos stones in his possession. Now he could only refine the world cores and origin stones to increase his world energy. Naturally, the speed would be much slower. However, Lu Ming's cultivation was already at the limit of the 6-star True Emperor realm. He was only a step away from the 7-star True Emperor realm. It wouldn't be difficult for him to break through. Chapter 2339. After that, Lu Ming continued to strengthen his foundation. A few days later, Heavenly Emperor Hung Yu arrived. The arrangements had been made, and they could set off immediately. Not long after, Heavenly Emperor Hung Yu brought Lu Ming with him, as they tore through space and rushed towards a certain place. An hour later, Lu Ming and the others appeared above a boundless sea. This sea was an inland sea of the grand pure celestial domain. It was vast and boundless. At this time, there were already some people waiting here. Lu Ming glanced over. Other than Heavenly Emperor Hung Yu, there were 3 other Heavenly Emperors. Apart from the 3 Heavenly Emperors, there were 5 other Great Emperors. Among the 5 Great Emperors, there were old men and middle-aged men. 2 of them caught Lu Ming's attention. The 2 of them looked exactly the same. It was obvious that they were twins. It was rare to see twins who had both reached the Great Emperor realm. It was obvious that these Great Emperors were also going to the Void Divine Island. Lu Ming's gaze swept over the sea again. In front of him, there was an area of space that was extremely unstable. It was constantly twisting and distorting. Occasionally, spatial cracks would appear. This was the spatial tunnel that led to the Void Divine Island. On the way here, Heavenly Emperor Hung Yu had already told Lu Ming about the spatial tunnel in detail. In fact, Two World City wasn't the only way to come to the grand pure celestial domain from other heavens. There were also 2 spatial tunnels that led to another battlefield. There were also other hidden spatial tunnels that led to other heavens. Some even led to other worlds, such as the Fiend God realm. However, these tunnels were usually extremely small and unstable. Usually, only one person could pass through at a time. At most, 2 or 3 people could pass through at a time. Any more and it wouldn't work. Moreover, these tunnels were extremely chaotic and dangerous. Even great emperors could get lost if they entered. Only heavenly emperors could pass through safely. Naturally, there were terrifying experts guarding these tunnels on the heavenly world's side. Although the surroundings were empty apart from the few of them, Lu Ming was certain that there were definitely terrifying powerful figures guarding this area. Once powerful figures from foreign tribes crossed the passageway, they would be killed forcefully. Moreover, this kind of passage usually only allowed 1, 2, or 3 people to pass through. If the foreign races dared to come, they would be surrounded and killed by the experts of the heaven realm. As a matter of fact, there were several such passageways in the Grand Lucidity Celestial Realm, all of which were guarded by experts to prevent outsiders from barging in. Lu Ming. Everyone looked at Lu Ming in astonishment. He hadn't expected that Lu Ming would also want to enter the Void Divine Island. As people from the Heaven Realm, I hope that you can help each other when you enter the Void Sacred Island. A Heavenly Emperor spoke, looking at Lu Ming and the others. Of course. Definitely. The martial monarchs nodded, including Lu Ming. It's about time. Let's go. Another great emperor said. Immediately, he waved his hand, and a wave of energy enveloped the twin brothers. At this moment, the space above the sea distorted, and a spatial crack appeared. The celestial emperor's figure moved, and he rushed into the spatial crack with the twins, disappearing from sight. This passageway only allowed 3 people to travel at a time. The others waited quietly. After a while, another heavenly emperor rushed into a spatial crack with 2 people. The third group was a heavenly emperor. He rushed into a spatial crack with a woman in palace attire. At the scene, only Heavenly Emperor Hung Yu and Lu Ming were left. They waited for a moment. Lu Ming, let's go. Heavenly Emperor Hung Yu waved his hand, and a wave of energy enveloped Lu Ming. He brought Lu Ming into a spatial crack in a flash. As soon as they rushed into the spatial crack, an endless spatial storm swept toward the 2 of them. Heavenly Emperor Hung Yu directly ignored it and rushed into the spatial storm. Soon, they passed through the spatial storm and came to a small void passageway. This void passageway was extremely small. At most, it could only allow 3 people to travel together. The surroundings were chaotic and dark, and there was a strong pressure pressing toward them. Heavenly Emperor Hung Yu brought Lu Ming, and their speed was astonishing. They moved forward at extreme speed, and the surrounding void constantly flew past. No idea how long had passed. There was suddenly no path ahead, turning into darkness. The void passageway was cut off. Heavenly Emperor Hung Yu brought Lu Ming and stopped. Closing his eyes, he sensed carefully. Suddenly, Heavenly Emperor Hung Yu brought Lu Ming and rushed toward the right, breaking through the darkness. After a while, they arrived above another void passageway. This was also something that only Heavenly Emperor realm powerhouses could sense and find the right path. If it were the average person, even a great emperor, they would probably get lost in the dark void too. If their luck was bad, they would never be able to get out, forever wandering in the dark void. Just like this, walking and stopping, a full few days passed. Suddenly, a resplendent radiance came from ahead. In the eternally withered dark void, there would actually be radiance coming. It made Lu Ming slightly surprised. At the same time, he knew that they were about to reach their destination. Sure enough, the next instant, they passed through the void passageway and arrived at a vacuum region. Yes, this region seemed to be forcefully carved open by someone in the dark void. This region did not have a trace of spatial storm. It was as if it was the sky outside. This region was shockingly large. In the center of this region, there was an island floating there. Looking from afar, there seemed to be a sun hanging in the sky above the island. The radiance came from that sun. The heavenly emperors who came in before, the twins, and the others, were all waiting here. When they saw Heavenly Emperor Hung Yu and Lu Ming coming over, they nodded, and then flew toward the island. This region was extremely vast and shockingly large. Even with the Heavenly Emperor's speed, it took them a long time to fly there. When they got close to the island, they realized that it was also shockingly large. How was it an island? It was clearly a continent. This Void Divine Island is extremely vast. Someone estimated that it might be 1/10 the size of the Grand Pure Sky domain. Heavenly Emperor Hung Yu said. The others were shocked. It was a 1/10 the size of the Grand Pure Sky domain, and this was just a single person's training ground. However, when they were a certain distance away from the Void Divine Island, Heavenly Emperor Hung Yu and the others stopped. We can't go any further. We will be suppressed by that pressure. You guys go ahead yourselves. One of the Heavenly Emperors said. With your cultivation, don't go too deep into the Void Divine Island. You can move around the periphery of the Void Divine Island. Many high-level emperors have already gone to the depths of the Void Divine Island. Another high-level Heavenly Emperor said. Everyone nodded their heads and flew toward the Void Divine Island alone. Senior, farewell. Lu Ming bid farewell to Heavenly Emperor Hung Yu. Lu Ming, be careful. Heavenly Emperor Hung Yu said solemnly. Chapter 2340. The group of 6 flew towards the Void Sacred Island. The closer they got to the island, the more they felt the vastness of the island. It was about 1/10 the size of the Grand Clarity Heaven realm, and was simply too vast. Below it were endless mountain ranges, endless plains, and all kinds of rivers and lakes. When they got close to the edge of the Void Sacred Island, they suddenly felt a terrifying pressure pressing down on them. It was as if they were carrying an endless weight. Their bodies couldn't help but fall downwards at an extremely fast speed. Their faces changed as they channeled their world force with all their might to stabilize their bodies. Lu Ming used his world force, and at the same time, his muscles were constantly vibrating. Only then did he stabilize himself. Otherwise, he would have fallen straight down. What a terrifying pressure. The 6 of them didn't look too good. Although Heavenly Emperor Hung Yu and the others had warned them that the pressure here was terrifying, they were still shocked when they actually felt it. Among the 6 of them, 5 were great emperors. Lu Ming also had the battle prowess of a great emperor. Even with their cultivation, they were almost unable to fly due to the pressure. One could imagine how terrifying it was. If a true emperor was here, they wouldn't be able to fly at all. They would fall straight to the ground and die from the pressure. This pressure, this aura. The more the 6 of them sensed, the more shocked they were. The pressure and aura seemed to be higher than the heavenly Tao. It transcended and ruled over everything. Even the heavenly Tao would be subdued by this aura. It was as if there was a supreme existence in the center of the island that was emitting an aura that suppressed the universe. However, someone had set foot on this island a few years ago. In the past few years, Everyone speculated that this island was left behind countless years ago. The owner of the island had long left. The aura on the island should be the remnant aura left behind when the owner of the island preached and went into seclusion. Lu Ming and the others were even more shocked when they thought of this. However, the remnant aura was still so terrifying even after so many years. It was truly terrifying. Even heavenly emperors couldn't enter the island due to the pressure. After they stabilized themselves, they slowly descended towards the ground. Soon, they were only a few tens of thousands of meters above the ground. What's that? Suddenly someone looked ahead. Over there, a dark cloud was flying towards them at an astonishing speed. Croak, croak, croak. Following that, a series of ear-piercing cries could be heard. Not good crows, all crows, someone exclaimed. Let's go. Their expressions changed. They turned around and rushed downwards. Croak, croak, croak. That flock of crows blotted out the sky and covered the sun. It was unknown how many of them there were. Every single one of them exuded a terrifying aura. Among them, there were true emperors and void emperors. But there were too many of them, so they could only retreat. However, the speed of those crows was also very fast, and they were quickly approaching. Whoosh, whoosh. At this moment, streaks of black light shot towards Lu Ming's group from below. These black streams of light were also crows. Their bodies were pitch black, and they were about the size of a head, as if they were made of black iron. Why are we so unlucky? We met this kind of crow as soon as we came in. One of them shouted angrily. As far as they knew, there were some terrifying mutated beasts living on the Void Sacred Island. And these crows were one of them. They were very terrifying and came in flocks. Some people were unlucky and met these crows as soon as they landed. It was very dangerous, and many people had died in the mouths of these crows. However, the Void Sacred Island was so vast, and the chances of meeting these crows were not very high. They could only say that they were too unlucky. Let's kill our way out, Lu Ming shouted, and a long spear was formed in his hand, shining with 9 different colors. Whoosh, whoosh, whoosh. The long spear burst out, turning into streaks of spear light, and collided with the crows. The spear light was extremely sharp, and each spear light could pierce through a crow. The others also attacked. Among the 6 people, only one was a 1-star Great Emperor. Among the other 4, 3 were 2-star Great Emperors, and 1 was a 3-star Great Emperor. Their attacking power was much stronger than Lu Ming's. When the 6 of them attacked, a large number of crows were killed, and their corpses fell to the ground. However, there were too many crows, and they continued to attack from below. The flock of crows in the distance also rushed over, and there were too many of them. Lu Ming and the others were delayed, and they were instantly surrounded by the flock of crows. Let's work together and kill our way out. The 3-star Great Emperor was a middle-aged man, and his fighting power was shocking. He held a battle axe, and with a swing of his axe, an axe radiance that was tens of thousands of meters long slashed out, and a large number of crows were killed. Void Emperor and True Emperor crows could not stop him at all. With him as the leader and the others as support, they immediately tore a path out of the flock of crows and rushed out continuously. Caw! At this moment, an ear-piercing sound was heard, and a streak of fiery red light rushed towards the middle-aged man. The middle-aged man swung his axe, and when it collided with the streak of fiery red light, there was a loud explosion, and the streak of fiery red light was sent flying. It was a fiery red crow, and its feathers were bright red, as if it was burning. The crow was shockingly strong, and it did not die after being hit by the middle-aged man's axe. It was an emperor-level crow. Caw, caw. Ear-piercing sounds were heard continuously, and the crowd saw a streak of fiery red light flashing in the flock of crows. Those were fiery red crows, and all of them were Great Emperor crows, and there were more than a dozen of them. The 6 of them were shocked. There were more than a dozen Great Emperor crows, and their strength was too shocking. Go quickly go! Someone shouted, and they unleashed their full strength. At this moment, no one held back, and they used all of their strength and attacked continuously, trying to rush out. However, more than a dozen fiery red crows were already closing in on them. Caw! Caw. Ear-piercing sounds were heard, and the crows flapped their wings, and they were as fast as lightning. Their claws were indestructible, and they pounced towards Lu Ming and the others. Get lost! Lu Ming shook his long spear, and swept it out, and it collided with a fiery red crow. Buzz! The long spear vibrated continuously, and a terrifying force came along the long spear. Lu Ming's body trembled, and he took a few steps back. The long spear that was formed by the power of the world, and the laws was almost shattered. What a powerful force! Lu Ming was shocked. That crow was only sent flying by Lu Ming, but it was not injured. Its eyes shone with a cold light, and it flapped its wings, and pounced towards Lu Ming again. The other 5 were also in a tough battle. The weakest of these crows had the combat strength of a 1-star great emperor, and the strongest was no weaker than the middle-aged man. Chapter 2341. More than 10 fiery red crows were surrounded by terrifying flames. The temperature was shockingly high. They were like more than 10 small suns, constantly charging toward Lu Ming and the group of 6. Their speed was shocking, and their power was terrifying as well. Lu Ming's group tried their best to defend themselves, but they were still in danger. Caw, caw. At this moment, there were 2 fiery red crows attacking Lu Ming. Lu Ming exerted all his strength and did not hold back at all. The long spear in his hand pierced out continuously. Boom, boom. The claws of the 2 fiery red crows collided with Lu Ming's long spear. The long spear vibrated continuously, while Lu Ming's body trembled violently as he retreated continuously. The 2 fiery red crows had the combat strength of a 1-star great emperor. Lu Ming could still deal with one, but there were 2 of them. Lu Ming was at a disadvantage, and his arms were numb from the impact. Fight! Lu Ming's eyes were filled with dazzling battle intent as he circulated the indestructible ancient scripture to fight against the 2 fiery red crows. With the indestructible ancient scripture's terrifying defensive power and recovery ability, Lu Ming could still defend himself. However, the others were in danger. Another 1-star great emperor realm old man was careless and was scratched by one of the crows. A piece of flesh was torn off, and a deep wound appeared on his body. Blood flowed out, and his face turned pale. His aura was weak. The others were also in danger, and they could not even take care of themselves. Charge out! Someone shouted. They tried their best to charge down to the ground and use the complicated terrain to get rid of the crows. However, there were too many crows. There were dozens of fiery red crows, all of which were Great Emperor Realm crows. The crows below the Great Emperor Realm formed a flock and attacked continuously. This was a huge problem for Lu Ming's group. Therefore, they could not charge out at all. Bang! Another person was hit by a fiery red crow's wing and was almost cut in half at the waist. It was extremely dangerous. Everyone, under such circumstances, let's just mind our own business. At this moment, the middle-aged man suddenly spoke. Everyone's expression changed. What do you want? An old man roared with an ugly expression. Boom. At that moment, the middle-aged man unleashed an all-out attack. The middle-aged man was a 3-star martial monarch. He was the strongest among them. At this moment, he had repelled a fiery red crow, which was equivalent to a 3-star great emperor, with a single move. Then, he seized the opportunity and rushed to the side. He wanted to escape alone. If he stayed behind with Lu Ming and the others, he would only be exhausted to death by so many crows. However, with his strength, if he escaped alone, a single 3-star Great Emperor Realm crow would not be able to stop him. Damn it! The others roared in anger. If the middle-aged man escaped, the 3-star Great Monarch Crow would attack them. They would be in great danger. They might all die here. Caw! Jie! The crows screeched as several fiery red crows surrounded and attacked the middle-aged man. However, the only one that could truly pose a threat to him was the 3-star Great Emperor Crow. Hence, the middle-aged man fought with his life on the line and sent a few crows flying. After paying the price of some injuries, he forced his way out. The middle-aged man turned into a ray of light and flew away quickly. The others' hearts started to turn cold. Without the middle-aged man, they would be finished. Lu Ming squinted his eyes. Was he going to use the Heavenly Emperor's physical body now? Over the years, Lu Ming had given the Heavenly Emperor's physical body most of the black crystals that he had obtained from the foreign tribes. Now, the Heavenly Emperor's physical body was filled with energy. If he used the Heavenly Emperor's physical body, he would have no problem killing those crows. However, Lu Ming had intended to keep the Heavenly Emperor's physical body and use it when he entered the Void Sacred Island. A large number of great emperors and foreign tribes had gathered on the Void Sacred Island. There were even many peak great emperors from the heaven boundary. In addition to the dangers of the Void Sacred Island, Lu Ming had intended to keep the Heavenly Emperor's physical body and use it when he was in danger. It would be a pity to use it before entering the Void Sacred Island. However, it seemed like he had no choice but to use it now. Just as Lu Ming was thinking about it, a sharp cry rang out in the distance. Jie! It was the same cry of the crows, but this cry had the power to pierce through gold and crack stone. It was as if it could tear the space apart. A flock of fiery red crows appeared in the distance. Yes, it was a flock. There were more than 20 of them, and all of them were fiery red crows. All of them were at the Great Emperor realm. Some of them had terrifying auras that covered the sky and earth. Their auras were even stronger than the 3-star Great Emperor Crow. Above the 3-star Great Emperor was the high-level Great Emperor. Other than Lu Ming, everyone's face turned pale. They were already in a desperate situation. Now that a flock of even more terrifying crows had appeared, there was no chance of survival. The dozen or so crows that came from behind all rushed towards the middle-aged man. The middle-aged man's face was pale, without a trace of blood. He screamed and his body emitted a bright light. His speed increased as he tried to escape. He was burning his life potential, causing his strength to increase by a large margin. However, the crows were too terrifying. A few of them were extremely powerful. With a flap of their wings, they chased after the middle-aged man like red lightning. Soon the crows caught up with the middle-aged man. Chi-Chi, a crow that was as big as a mountain, swiped at the middle-aged man with its sharp claws. The middle-aged man roared and unleashed all his strength. He attacked with his strongest move to block the attack. However, his attack was torn apart by the crow's sharp claws. Half of his body was torn apart. The middle-aged man screamed and retreated. He let out a desperate roar. Following this, the other terrifying crows attacked, and the middle-aged man was powerless. Under the attacks of the crows, his body was torn apart and devoured by the crows. The middle-aged man wanted to escape alone, but he was the first to die. The others did not feel happy about the middle-aged man's death. At this moment, they only felt despair. It's over. Someone growled. Once the middle-aged man died, it would be their turn. Lu Ming, what a pity. An old man looked at Lu Ming with pity. Lu Ming was so young and talented. His future was limitless. It was very likely that he would become an invincible expert in the heaven domain. However, he was going to die here. It was a pity. Even if I die, I will kill a few of them. Another person roared, planning to fight with his life. Caw, caw. At this moment, the fiery red crow that had killed the middle-aged burly man fixed its eyes on Lu Ming and the rest. It flapped its wings and flew toward Lu Ming and the rest at high speed. Its blood-red eyes were filled with cold, murderous intent. It seems that I can only use the Heavenly Emperor's body, Lu Ming whispered. Then, a small stone statue appeared in his hand. You're tuning in to the Li Mei's Wuxia Whispers YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support. And don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.